I just lost 2 of them to school. So, you know, that's the inherent problem with part-time people. I mean, you know, it's not just the police department, we're seeing it on our end too. You know, my intention was to FY20 to go to the town meeting and look for our position back that we lost back in 2010. We used to have 5 people, we used to have 8 people. The problem is that with how busy things are and the more calls we're doing today, which we're doing, we're way over our call volume as compared to last year already. I'm sure the chief is as well. So the problem is that we're seeing it as well. It's not just fire, it's and police. It's both of us. You know, keeping these people because they do have other responsibilities. They do. You can't need them to you know fill a shift, and they say, "I'm sorry, I can't. You know, my full-time job is you know." And so it's just harder and harder to maintain these people on the part-time side. So we really do have to take a good look at that staffing option of where we used to be and where we're heading. And in my opinion, I think I said it before, but this is the time to do it since we do see some potential savings coming through the regionalization of dispatch. I mean, that will soften the blow and hopefully help out. And you know, as Selectman already said, that year 2 is really where we're going to see where those savings are going to be. But I do think that we're going to see some decent amount of savings on there. So I mean, this would be a time to try to invest back into that because I mean, like I said, I do understand what he's saying because I'm going through it right now on the fire department. I have been for a couple of years now. You know, we've been able to make it work, but it's getting harder and harder to do that all the time.
Well, I'm not disagreeing with you.
Yeah.
The problem that we have at our board is we're not the only ones that make the decision.
Oh no, I understand that.
For finance, they have to give us something.
Oh no, I agree. I just wanted you to hear another perspective from the same line of work.
And
So
the residents have to have the option of voting. They're going to say, hey, you know what? We're 2 months into the FY19 budget season, and we're already looking at an increase. You know, the ink just dried on last year. And I know it's timing, but still, it needs to go before those guys, and then, you know, somehow that's the town. I don't think we can just say, yeah, go ahead, because finance is not going to be happy with that. You know, it needs to be visited with other committees and the residents. I don't know if finance has a meeting schedule coming up anytime soon.
We do.
The chief can get on there and discuss it with you guys, and you know, I sure like to hear what they have to say about this.
Well, you know, as the chief said, you know, I've had some short conversation, and I looked about it as simply as you can, looking at a situation like this. Is, you know, if we're spending $70,000 a year paying part-time overtime for not full coverage, and we can hire a full-time position at $20,000 less, you don't have to hit me over the head with a hammer that just the financial cost savings makes sense to me. But I guess the issue is that, as Chief Spirikowski said, you know, he's had this ongoing issue since springtime, and it's to the point where you got to do something about it because overtime is killing us. Part-time is as much as, you know, in a perfect world, they all work out, but we're not in a perfect world. Like you said, you know, the guy would be willing, hey, I can't, I'm working my regular shift. No, I don't want to end up coming in. I don't want to work 18 hours a day. But I think we're just at the point now that, I mean, I sympathize with the chief. We're in a rotten situation. But we do have to do something about it. We can't have part-timers working 50 hours a week because it's sooner or later it's going to come back, and all of a sudden we're going to end up having, you know, an issue with the benefit package.
Mr. Chairman, also we have in-service training coming up. I have 2 trainings scheduled for September. I have an officer who's taking a previously approved 2-week vacation in England. Again, the part-timers. Oftentimes what we'll do is we'll get a hold of the part-timers prior to doing the schedule, and we'll ask them for their availability. And we have to plug them into the schedule where they fit. It's not necessarily where we want them, but where they fit. So I need either start talking about a long-term solution, adding the 8th guy, or some other short-term solution. But we need to discuss this, and we need to decide it shortly. I need to get on it.
Well, I mean, that's my whole point, and like I say, I mean, I don't want to end up rushing into any decision, and our hands are tied to a certain extent. But it's time to stop talking, and like you said, Chief, we got to address the situation because it's not going to get
sympathize with both of you as well. I wish we'd had this conversation back in the spring. I mean, because I'm sure on an ongoing basis, and I've heard it from both departments, you know, stuff happens, someone's gone, someone resigns, someone retires. You know, historically, what I have done in that situation is you end up almost having to plan at you don't know what, you don't know who, but someone's going to be out, whether it's vacation, training, retiring, resigning. And so, yes, you end up having what would on paper look to be an extra full-time position, but most of the time you end up having one person out, and so you end up having the full-time people, and then you fluctuate the part-time. And I wish we'd had this discussion back in the spring. We might have been able to avoid some of this, perhaps. Get something in the budget.
Well, spring is gone, we're here.
Yeah.
And the point is, you know, is something has to be done.
I'm not person myself prepared to vote on it until we know what the decisions between the two people that are out at this point. Like John said, if they come back, we're back up to 6, 7 officers, so, you know, I mean, and before it goes before finance and funding options there. There's two things that need to be determined, so.
Well, no, I understand that, and I understand, you know, it's an awkward situation for anybody. But going forward, you know, this department can't keep running the way it is. Something has to be done one way or the other.
I agree that it may be fiscally responsible to add another officer, but I don't have that information in front of me right now. I haven't done the analysis, I haven't had anybody from finance look at it to say that, hey, guys, you know, you really save X amount of dollars by adding that other full-time officer. And I think we need to go through those motions in order to understand that. It may be wise for us to add another full-time officer, but without the numbers and be able to dig through the numbers, I'm not ready to make that decision. I understand the problem, and I don't have the information to say yay or nay at this point in time, but I mean, we have to do something until we understand what's going on.
You know,
Two officers.
aside from the 2 officers who are missing, this position would be, in addition to those, one of those 2 positions could not be resolved for quite some time. The other one, if it's resolved, it could go in either direction. But regardless, I'm out of options. I need to move now. I need to do something to staff the shifts. And again, hiring the part-timers, I would have loved to have had this discussion in the spring also. We can never predict the circumstances. We can never predict an officer getting hurt or resigning or going to a different town or what have you. We can never predict that. So it was really impossible to have this conversation in the spring, but we do need to have it now, and I need to act now. So,
And that's the whole point of having an agenda tonight. I guess I don't have a quick answer for you, Chief. I really don't know, but I know we cannot continue to do what we have. It's just not a good thing for anybody involved. The people that are working in the taxpayers in town, this and that. We have to come to some sort of resolution that, you know, if we're gonna have a full-time police department, or we're gonna have a part-time police department. That's what it comes down to. Because I know your frustration, Chief, because you're right. Get to the end where part-time is gonna be an issue if we don't end up getting something resolved on that end. But I also don't want people working 65 hours a week either. You know, because like you say, you know, the way everything is structured in the contract and this and that literally the overtime is killing us. You know, it kills your budget, it kills this budget, it's just...
And I do realize there's a lot of officers out there that are putting in a tremendous amount of hours. And I appreciate what they're doing while we get the decision made.
I have one part-time officer now who is working more than full-time consistently. If it weren't for that one officer, I don't know what I'd do. We wouldn't have people. I'd have to force people repeatedly to work shifts, and at the same time deny them their paid time off. So that's the issue we're running into. So moving forward, we go to finance. I mean, I'd be happy to come to the finance committee meeting when it's scheduled for.
It isn't scheduled yet.
Well, we can get on the agenda, at least have the discussion and come back, make a recommendation. Is there a way that we can get someone appointed? Again, I've got a candidate who'd be willing to take the slot. We can slide them in, concentrate on getting them trained, and at least stop some bleeding. If not so much monetarily, but certainly through staffing. And in the meantime, hopefully, one or both of the other positions resolves. But again, in 6 weeks, I was Officer Cindy for 6 months. So it sounds like a temporary solution, but it would be a permanent.
Well, my feeling is, listen to the conversation, I would rather put off, because as it stands right now, I don't think it's gonna be a positive, and I don't wanna end up having that vote as a negative right now. Like John says, and Dario says, I think there's too many X factors out there, but we can't drag our feet and take another 6 months to do this. I understand that, I understand the position it puts your department in, besides the concerns of the taxpayers in town. So, the front desk staffing and the basement and maintenance position, we did, but as it stands right now, Chief, I'm really reluctant to call for a vote. I don't think it's going to be.
Well, I understand that, but that being said, does the board have any ideas of how I can begin to staff shifts, especially if we don't resolve anything?
Well, that's what we're here for.
I'll be honest with you, I'm out of ideas.
I know you've relayed that to me. And like I say, I don't have an answer.
So we're gonna have any luck with finding part-timers?
Again, I can hire all the part-timers we want, I can't get them trained. And I certainly can't get them trained in time for Officer Cindy's departure.
We got 6 weeks before
We
Officer
have
Cindy
one
is.
field training officer who's really available right now.
What does the, pardon my ignorance, but what does the field training entail?
We indoctrinate them into, this is an entire program. I can show you the packet of what's involved. There's an analysis. We show them our protocols, our rules and regulations, policies and procedures. We observe them on calls. We rate them on certain factors. And when the full-time field training officers are confident in that person's ability, then we cut them loose to ride independently. And again, sometimes that person, if they have experience, it could be 40 hours, it could be 60. If you get someone who's got no experience, and one of the people we have now has none, it could be 120. It's all dependent on the person.
But the part-time officers do have some experience in patrol duties and whatnot, just not
Some don't.
our town protocol?
I'm sorry?
Just not our town protocol?
Or any protocols. We require that they've gone to the part-time academy, which they all have. As far as experience, we've been limited with the applications, and we've been desperate for employees, so we're basically latching on to candidates and circumventing some of the process through the hiring in conjunction with the board to make the appointments. So we're taking everything that we can get. I've got 2 more applicants on the hook right now. One has absolutely no experience, but has a part-time academy. So we spend a lot of time and a lot of effort to train these people, and a lot of money. But then we turn around, and if you look historically in the past 10 years of the department, we have turned over more than 30 part-time employees in 10 years. That's 3 a year that we've hired, we've gone through the process, we've trained, we've spent money on, only to lose them to other agencies or wherever. So hiring another full-time would at least probably give some stability to that, and make an investment in the department. But regardless, I could hire 10 part-timers right now, they'll still be useless to me when Officer Cindy leaves.
Could those part-timers be from other surrounding towns? I mean, there's got to be officers out there that are
A
looking
lot
for
of times,
hours.
that's what we get. We do have people expressed interest, not lately. The people that I'm getting are usually people who are just out of the part-time academy and looking to get into law enforcement. So we have a lot of molding to do before we can get them loose.
If we reached out to any of the other surrounding community, Palmer, where
We put the word out that
Sturbridge.
we're always looking for employees. We've put the word out. I'll be honest with you, I think we've exhausted the candidate pool for a significant radius. We've gone through 30 candidates in the past 10 years. But now we're at a position where we can't adequately staff because we don't have enough people to do it.
Barry, have you heard the conversation, or most of the conversation that's taking place?
Since I walked through the door.
Well, we're in a situation that needs to be addressed. We've been kicking this can down the road too long. And I don't have an answer. I don't think anybody here, everybody knows what has to be done, but the hands are tied either legally or whatever, or town meeting vote, but this is an issue that has been going on far too long. I understand the department is at their wit's end, and one way or the other, we have to address the situation. And I don't think we want to take 4 months to do it. So, everybody is aware of the situation. I really don't know what more conversation to have, Chief, but everybody's we gotta come up with some resolution. I don't have the answer. I don't think anybody here can say it has. If we do this, all our problems will go away. But I think if we don't address it, we're gonna end up looking at more problems down the road.
So I'm more comfortable with going before finance, seeing what finance has to say, and waiting to see what the determination is with the two people who are presently out, and finding out where we stand with them. Which we should have some resolution shortly.
Yeah, we did got one issue, it would be shortly, like the chief says, the other one could be, short term, or could turn into something, that's longer than that. John?
Just one other question for you, Chief, is, do you have any idea where you might hear back about the IOD officer, or?
We're working on a couple of things right now through town council, but like Mr. Richard said, this could be short-term or it could be permanent. I can't make that determination. It could be anything in between. It could be 6 weeks, it could be 6 months, it could be a year, it could be 6 years. I don't know. But I need the staff. I desperately need the staff.
I guess that's the point the board is trying to make, is right, something has to be done ASAP.
So you're in the
I'm
process
happy to meet
of
with finance if they schedule a meeting.
finance.
Can we check with town council about making some sort of interim appointment to fill at least the IOD position? Is there some way the board can work with the union to resolve that issue or put a clause in there? Impact bargain, I don't know about. Again, unless you have any suggestions on how I can fill shifts, I'm fresh out of ideas.
Who's the union rep now, currently? Sarge?
It was dropped on the sergeant when the other officer went IOD.
We have a meeting scheduled coming up. I mean, if you would talk to the other union members on what their feelings would be if we did a temporary appointment type thing, just to get an idea when we go into our bargaining, maybe we can talk about it a little bit then. It's not that far off.
They're gonna have to agree to that. So it's advantageous to them to have that discussion now, before we bring it to this meeting, because they would have to agree, it would just be agreements with that.
So let's test the water right now, while we're working the other avenues with finance and stuff. At least we'd have an idea within a couple of weeks of how the union would feel about that, and hopefully we'll have some information about the two other officers that are unavailable right now.
Maybe last
Or
week.
at least the one, we probably won't hear for another 6 weeks. So we've still got a lot of time, and then at the end of 6 weeks, Officer Simmons is gone. So it could be actually in 6 weeks, I could be in worse shape than I am right now.
Understood.
Maybe last
I
week.
wasn't here to hear the officer Sini situation. Can you explain that to me?
He's going to the academy in October,
Okay.
and he's operating on a waiver now, so that he could work for 270 days as a full-time police officer for the town prior to his academy training, which is mandatory.
So he wasn't full-time when we hired him?
No, he is full-time. The requirement of being a full-time police officer in Massachusetts is you have to attend the academy. However, if the town can show a hardship that staffing levels are impacted or there's no academy available, then you can defer that applicant's entry into the academy and his certification for a maximum period of 270 days. He's been on waiver since he was, which was back in
February.
I'm sorry?
February.
February. He's at the end of that now. I can't get an extension on him. Once that waiver expires, he cannot work as a full-time police officer. I have to send him to the academy.
And is that in your budget?
Yes.
And what is the issue with the other officer?
The other officer's been placed on injured on duty. It could be temporary, it could be permanent, or anything in between. I don't know.
So what did we do, I'll ask the selectmen this, what did we do when Officer Chase was out that year and whatever he was? What did we do in that case? Did we hire another full-time officer, or did we have part-timers come in to fill his shifts, or how did we handle that?
We had a full-time contingent. At that time, we had 7 full-time officers. We were down 1. We were able to fill those gaps, but it was at a significant overtime cost. And we're running into a lot of other issues in regards to allowing part-timers to work too many hours, which is going to put the town on the hook for liability.
So financially, this is not, the FinCom is not gonna come up with an answer for you. Because the FinCom defers to you because you are in charge of the contract. So we are not allowed to say anything until you say to us, we approve 4 new part-timers and 1 new full-timer. Then we'll go into action and we'll tell you where we would say the money should come from. But until you make the decision as to who you're going to hire, it would be fruitless for him to come to us to ask for money when we don't even know how it's going to be negotiated.
Would you recommend it though? Would you recommend that, going for a transfer or something, that we can bring it before the town? We're not just gonna hire, we should seek the town's approval, just like we did for the clerk, changing a step level. Those employee changes or additions go before the residents. We can make the recommendation, but we seek their approval. It's their
But in
tax
this
dollars
case,
to
by
pay.
what he's saying, these officers that he's trying to replace are officers who are on our payroll.
And then they return.
So in that case, he can't be without employees.
I get that, but if they return, now we have an 8th officer.
Well, then that's the contract. But
Not
that's,
been funded through FY19.
but that's your contract negotiation. You either have to say you're going to be hired for 6 months.
The number of officers is in the contract here. The chief makes a recommendation, and we either approve it and bring it before the town or not.
Well, then
Their
your
shifts are in the contract, and how many they are recommended to have per shift. It's not a requirement, it's recommended in the current CBA. But he makes the recommendation, and we either approve it, and you guys approve it financially, and we bring it before the town, and we hope that all parties are on board, so the residents will approve it.
Well, I would still maintain that before you come to finance, you need to have an answer from the select board as to how they want to handle this. We'll look at it, and we'll look at the finances. I'll go to Madeline, we'll look at the money coming in, anything that's been for September.
If you could tell us how to fund, that'd be great.
That's good.
That's fair enough.
Can we table it until the next meeting, at which point we'll have an opportunity to speak in
The
roundtable?
next meeting is until the 18th, which is 3 weeks out. So but we have 2 more meetings with other town select boards, that's why.
Well, it's, obviously, then it's not gonna come to a vote tonight, but if we table it till the next meeting, then maybe we can have the board make that recommendation. If the stars align, I'll speak to finance, and whoever we need to make it happen.
Okay, we're good.
Okay.
Okay, sir. All right, CMRPC, alternate delegate. Discussion, vote expected.
We had tabled this from the last meeting. Dario, you're currently listed as the Board of Selectmen's alternate to CMRPC. I don't know if you're still interested, or it's John.
It's a monthly meeting, I think, runs, it's in Worcester.
Well,
I just,
yeah, quarterly.
we'll look at it all monthly for a while, depends on what's going on.
Yeah.
It's in Worcester, and I think it's 5:30, 6 o'clock or something around there. I really no problem with my schedule. I wanted to meet, so it's gonna half hour to get there. We're one of, 8 towns, Ben?
Yes.
Something like that. I I was the alternate, then I became the delegate, so I had to go every month. The alternate doesn't have to go every month, they'll still send the materials as to what's going on. It's basically a lot of discussion on a lot of our major road projects downtown, Route 9 project, these are the TIP projects. We discuss these things for 3-5 years out. You're the board that's voting on the approval of the projects to Worcester County. Pretty important position. Here's a lot of weight, votes do count there. So it's nice to have a representative for our town out there, so be good.
These right now, just for the CMRPC for the delegate, there's quarterly meetings and the rest, they have the dates already up, so they meet. If you're
Yeah, what
interested.
time is the meetings?
Um,
6.
yeah, maybe 6, but perhaps if you go ahead of time, which they're planned out for the year. Maybe how much flexibility you have in your schedule.
Guess we had an hour to get there.
Keep in mind, as an alternate, you don't have to attend every meeting. As a delegate, you do that as the alternate. I'll make a motion to appoint Jeff.
I'll second.
I'll abstain.
Motion made second, huh?
You okay with it? Becky?
Aye.
Aye.
Thanks, Jeff.
Yeah, well,
Class 2 license request, 101 Dunham Road.
Mr. Richard, Brown came in, he's at, like you said, 101 Dunham Road, he's looking for a class 2 license just from the board. I did ask the enforcement officer to provide a zoning recommendation and determination on that. He did determine that it was a home use only. He does state in his application that no time will there be any vehicles on the property, so that is a stipulation of the actual license. So if there's any violation, we yank it.
Need a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve the class 2 license for 101 Dunham Road for Mr. Richard Brown.
All in favor?
aye.
And like I said, I've seen a copy of that and tell the gentleman that, first violation was getting in. Well, I'm sure you want to show.
Warrants and invoices. Mr. Chairman, I make a motion to accept warrant number 13 for the amount of $46,156.59 for payroll dated 8/13/2018, and vendor warrant number 14 for $369,730.32 for the same date.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye. Mr. Chairman, I make a motion to accept warrant number 15 for payroll in the amount of $38,000, $380.81 for payroll, and vendor warrant number 16 for $71,325.96 dated 8/20/2018.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye. Also, we have warrant number 17 for $37,480.61 for payroll, and vendor warrant number 18 for $318,054.19 dated 8/27/2018.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Drawdowns, we have for fiscal year 17, invoice number 3, CDBG grant program, Warren Domestic Violence Prevention Project. PA is PBPC for $5,008.47.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
That's it.
Dario, you got anything?
Yep, new business. I'd like to point out that last Thursday, the town submitted a grant for the town hall in the amount of $100,000. I'd like to recognize the town accountant, the town planner, friends of the town hall, Mrs. Buck and the Conservation Commission. We met, had a meeting initially. This opportunity came before us rather quickly. Fortunately, through the work of the town accountant and other that I mentioned, documentation that helped us score very well in this grant application. Like I said, we applied for the total amount of $100,000, and the plan was to add that to the amount of money that we already have set aside for the window project at the town hall. With this amount of money and what we have, and the Friends of the Town Hall committed, we'd be able to do the downstairs windows, maybe some of the upstairs windows and some of the doors. So I will try to get on capital to discuss further projects at the town hall. But this, if it's awarded, we would have to have the funds expended by June 30th of 2019. So this project, if we're awarded this in the next 4 to 6 weeks, is going to be fast-tracked, and this window project could happen fairly quickly in the winter into the spring for the town hall. It'll improve the air quality in the first floor for the police department, allow for better airflow through the building. And like I stated, it just goes to show you when multiple parties work together, we can accomplish a greater good. And this came together really, really fast, and I'm pretty proud of the people that were involved with it and the work that went into it. And I'm pretty confident that I think we're going to receive all, if not some of this money through the grant application, because we're a limited amount of people with the population that we have that apply for this. So I'm not overconfident, but I'm pretty confident we're going to see something, and it'll be a great addition to the town hall, and really help with some of the improvements that we need to make down there, especially with the air quality. And the other thing I wanted to point out is a few things I'm going to be working on moving forward is the tech grant that's due next January. We had talked about this a while ago. It's up to $212,000. I do plan to submit an application for that. I'd like to concentrate and meet with our boards and our board and others about really looking at our infrastructure with regards to networking our computers, backups, servers, cloud-based servers. Those are some needs I think that we need in the town right now before anything else. The other thing is besides that, looking at the charter again, I'd like to revisit that possibly, and I'd like to see if the board will allow me to speak with town council with regards to the town charter. I have the original that was drafted years ago. I've spoken about this about 6 months ago. For the last few weeks, I know a lot of residents come up to me and say, can we look at this? Should you guys look? Should we, look to make some changes? I wouldn't, be opposed to revisiting again and seeing what the steps would be. If we want to form a charter committee and then look to see if we want to go with the town manager, town administrator. So I think that we just need to make sure we know what we need to do. It's probably about a 1.5 to 2 year process from start to finish. You really need to form a committee. I think it's by an election. You've got to go through the process of having public hearings, meetings, and that, and formulating this. A lot of people have approached me about this that are interested in us pursuing this again. So I wouldn't have a problem taking on that responsibility and seeing if it's a viable option with the residents thing. Those are the things I have, sir. So it's just probably a 15-20 minute conversation with Jeff, seeing what we would need to do if we want to even look at this and see if we're making some changes.
I've never.
Thank you.
Take care of whatever you need with town council.
Yep, thank you.
John?
I have nothing.
Okay, and I got a couple of things. One, just FYI, I know we've had discussion and it's been pretty quiet, but this is to the folks that had brought up the issues many times before about the tax title properties. I happen to be in the building today, and obviously the work of the tax office and the treasurer still has to go about its daily business. But I know for a fact that between Carrie down the tax office and Don in the treasurer's office, that little by little they are doing a little bit at a time to keep that project moving forward. They are researching some of the older properties that were discussed here, and it's not a dead issue, but there is some advancements going on in that issue. And it's not dropped the ball, as they say, like we've had an issue of it, it's not an issue, but it's an ongoing issue, and these people, when they get together, they'll sit for an hour or so and start banging out some of these things. So that's an ongoing issue. I would just like to make sure that the people that had the concerns, that yes, it will still be addressed going forward. And the only other thing I have is, we've taken quite a bit of slack regarding the comments and concerns. And I think I've made my position very clear. And as far as I'm concerned, I hope people realize that there is a purpose for this, and it's not going to turn into a he said, she said thing. So as far as I'm concerned, the price for people that don't. So that's a decision that I made. I think it's important. I've had enough people talk to me that they think quite that issue on the agenda is important. And like I said, I hope people will play by the rules going forward because there will be certain guidelines. And we'll be back on the agenda for the first open public meeting here. Like I said, we have a couple of meetings we have to go to Rear and let it go. That is why those meetings are scheduled. The votes on everything, so otherwise, pardon me?
Just one more thing for both chiefs here. Last meeting, you guys had mentioned that you were gonna start looking at the pay structures for the fire and whatnot. So start looking at, have you made any progress there? Or do you need help there, or what's going on? Or is it stalled?
We have looked at it. My impression was that the board tabled it until all three members, and I brought it up at the last meeting, you know, my suggestion was to form a committee or whatever, and I would be happy to chair it or however, but I really think that we need to look at a comparison of all departments and all department heads and everyone involved in the town in general to see if we can get this online, given the fact that, as Selectman Darby mentioned, that, you know, we got a lot of changes coming up with the minimum wage stuff, and I've been looking at that stuff, and I think that this is the time to really get ourselves on track here before we're forced and mandated to make those changes. I think it would be embarrassing for us to have employees that are, you know, paid under the minimum, you know what I mean, at the last second. We don't want to be scrambling with that stuff. So my suggestion was to form a committee to look at all of this stuff, and I believe the board, you know, I've done some preliminary stuff on my end, but I believe the board kind of tabled it until they could have the full board to discuss it. That was my interpretation of it.
And I was gonna wait till you and I were both back.
Yeah, so, because Mr. Nardi wasn't present last time, so I think that was, you know, if the board is willing to do that, like I said, I'm more than happy to sit on a committee to look at those changes, and, you know, I know there's a lot of other stakeholders that would probably want to be part of that, but I do think that it's, you know, we have an opportunity here with the state changing what they're doing to really take a comprehensive look at everybody. And I think that's something that needs to be done, and it's probably long overdue because, you know, unfortunately our pay scale, which has changed over the years, and I appreciate the changes the board has made, you know, unfortunately it's going to be way out of whack once these new changes come in, so we're definitely going to have to do something about it. So that was just a suggestion that I was thinking about, so.
I personally have no problem studying what provides
But
information.
we're gonna have to do some, you know, we don't have really a yes or no. We're gonna have to address it.
I'm in favor. I don't want to go to work on it, so I'll gladly share the responsibility.
That's fine. And I was just hoping maybe we could get, you know, at least one select board member or
We need a FinCom member.
members from FinCom and, you know, and the department heads themselves, or however we wanted to set that up, but I think, you know, everybody can be assigned something to, you know, so that we can really take a look, instead of just